I would like to call to order the regular school board meeting of July 16th, 2015. I want to welcome the citizens of Clay County. I take this opportunity to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to attend tonight's school board meeting. This meeting is our opportunity as your elected representatives to collaborate openly and make decisions that will decide the future direction of our public schools and the education of our children here in Clay County. If you wish to address the board, there will be an opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. Please fill out a card, which you will find located in the back of the room, and indicate the specific item number or topic that you wish to speak about, and you can turn it in promptly, and you can bring that right up here and give it to Ms. Diane Cornegay. And no additional cards will be accepted once the board moves to the discussion agenda, and certainly your participation is welcome and appreciated. So before we bring the adoption of our consent agenda, we do have a number of yellow cards of people that would like to speak to items on that consent agenda. And I see we have some more yellow cards coming. So the first person that will speak will be Mr. Keith Nichols. And Mr. Nichols is going to be speaking on item C8, which references the bargaining teams.
My name is Keith Nichols, and my address is on record. In one of my first presentations before the school board, I pointed out that over 30% of our support staff draw annualized salaries that place them below federal poverty levels. I have noticed that several board members have taken to quoting that statistic, and so I will consider it vetted. Those were statistics from over 2 years ago. Tonight you are approving the teams that will negotiate the new contract with CESPA and CCCA. And I would like to update those numbers. The paper I handed out is the update from the data obtained from the free database at the Florida Times Union website. Based on these numbers from 2014, 23.69% of all employees working for the Clay County School Board draw salaries below federal poverty guidelines for a family of 4. Almost 20% could not support a family of 3. Again, that is for all employees. So I think it would be safe to assume if you examine just support employees, they would easily top the 30% mark again. My hope is that tonight each member of the board will pledge to address the issue of poverty among your employees. Growing up, my father sang in a gospel group with the superintendent of our school system, who once told my father and us, nobody should get rich in education. I, however, also believe nobody should be expected to starve serving the public good. With that being said, the most disturbing part of the research project for me was the links I had to go to find reputable data. This information should be freely accessible from our own website. People should be able to view it and break the data down easily right from our own site. Our track record on data access is horrible, and I hope you will consider every opportunity to improve this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Our next speaker is Teresa Dixon, and she will also be speaking on item C8.
My name is Teresa Dixon. I'm the president of CESPA, and my address is on file with the card. I'd like to take a moment just to give you a different perspective of your employees by telling you some of the things I've seen over my last 23 years as an employee of the district. I've seen the smiling face of a student welcomed onto the bus and presented with a small token as a birthday gift from their driver. Then I recall that same driver opting out of joining friends for a birthday lunch because she didn't have the extra money to afford an afternoon at Golden Corral. I've seen a custodian sit in the courtyard consoling a very upset young man who had just broken up with his girlfriend. He bought him a soda and sat and talked for a few moments until the student could calm himself and go to class. Then I recall talking to this same custodian a few days earlier and hearing how upset his wife was because the roof was leaking again. He had to rush home and patch it because he had no money to replace it. I've seen a cafeteria worker pay for a student's lunch and then recall this same worker commenting that rice and gravy is a great way to extend your grocery budget since she can only afford meat 3 times a week for her family. I've seen a nurse purchase a new sweater for a student who came to school day after day without one, only to see this nurse wearing the same sweater I'd always seen her with a small hole in the shoulder for at least the last 3 years. I've seen a school secretary purchase a yearbook for a graduating senior that was homeless, and then struggle to afford to purchase the school picture package of her own child. I've seen a teacher's assistant climb into an ambulance to go to the hospital with a child who had just had a seizure and stay with that child 2 hours past her regular working hours until the parent could be located. Then I recall seeing a hole in the bottom of her shoe as she climbed into that ambulance. See, she couldn't afford shoes for herself and her 3 children. These are just a few examples of the kind of dedicated, caring, and unselfish employees you have here. I challenge you. Go home and ask your own child the name of their cafeteria worker, their bus driver, their nurse, custodian, etc. See if they can tell you. Chances are they can. They can because these people make a difference in the daily lives of these students and impact their ability to learn. Please consider these things as you prioritize your budget. Support employees have not had an increase in their pay scale since before 2007, though the cost of living and the minimum wage has continued to rise. Please understand also that the employees dismay when they see a district supervisor receive a promotion to increase his salary by $8,000. It's upsetting to them, considering $8,000 is about the same as some employees' total annual salary. That's before taxes and insurance. No employee should make so little that they ever have to write a check to the district to cover their insurance deductions. But unfortunately, this is the reality of many of your support employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. Our next speaker is Ms. Rebecca Smith.
My name is Rebecca Smith. My address is also on the card. I am a Clay County school bus driver. I am at step 4 of your pay scale. I make $11.73. Like she says, there's not been a pay scale increase since 2007. After all my deductions of a 10-day pay, I have $130. If you divide that by the 20-day pay, I'm only making $13 a day. I have fuel expense. This is unreasonable. We're not asking for the moon and the stars. We're asking for a fair wage. And we should be able to have that fair wage. When I drive my school bus, I'm a bus driver, I'm a counselor. I am also, if a child gets sick, I got to clean up after that child. If that child gets hurt, I have to dress the wound. We hold many titles driving that school bus. I am a professional. I have to get certifications every year to be able to drive the school bus. And I do not feel that we are appreciated. I don't feel appreciated. Would you feel appreciated making $13 a day? I mean, come on, get real. I just want y'all to really see what we're going through here. Not only is that affecting me, we just got an increase in our insurance. Let's look at that for a second. 9% increase on my medical expenses, that's $30-something added to me. Then you got vision, that went up. Well, dental, hey, I got to have dental. I would like to try to keep my teeth, It's not that I'm asking for something unreasonable. So, y'all really, the decisions that this board is making is affecting our lives. It's affecting our lives, and it's pushing good workers out of a job because we can't keep going on. Like at the last school year, I had to write $365 check for my insurance at the end of the school year. I mean, you want to keep good workers? Y'all got to do better. And just ask for a fair wage. It's not unreasonable. So you need to decide. You think about what y'all are doing here is affecting our lives. We don't make what y'all make. I'm at step 4. What about 3, 2, and 1? okay? Please, please, pay attention to what's really happening with your employees over here. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Our next speaker is Kim, is it Stacy or Stacy? Yes, Kim Stacy. C8, yeah.
I'm just going to read from my letter because I get a little nervous up here.
Please state your name and
My
address
name
for the
is
record.
Kim Stacy. I'm a school bus driver. My address is on the card. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, thank you.
All right. Well, good evening to all.
Good evening.
My name is Kim Stacy. I'm a school bus driver. I'm here tonight to express my concerns for us drivers and monitors that are living below poverty level. While employed by the school district, I feel the board believes that the work week consists of a 37.5 hour a week. This is far from the truth. Some of us work 6 hours, some work 5, some work 4, and some fewer than that. At the last meeting, a few meetings ago that I attended, it was said that the reason why there was a administration positions open that they were going to appoint because the other the people that were doing that at that point in time were doing 2 to 3 people different jobs at one time, so they needed to have some of it left off of them. And I believe that was quoted by Mr. Van Zandt. I don't know if any of y'all have ever ridden a bus on it, even just as a shift, maybe one school. We do more than just drive that bus. We do a lot of positions. We have a lot of workload on us. But we don't get paid for it, which we don't mind doing some of the stuff for the emotional and taking care of the kids and things like that. It is part of our job. But with that said, we do more than just drive the bus. We do a lot more and get 50 to 60 students to school and from their destination safely. But the pay scale, let me get back. If you work 6 hours a day, 30 hours a week, for $12 an hour is $360 a week, which is $720 every 2 weeks, with a pay period of a month of $1440. With taxes, retirement, you're looking at about $400 coming off the check right at the top, which leaves about $1,100 a month on a good day for 9 months. Now, we only get paid 9 months. And the national poverty for one in a household is $1,177 a year. We are 2,400 and something below that. With that said, one more thing so I can get this out. We have to understand we not only do we not get paid but 9 months, but through the school breaks, Christmas, Thanksgiving, teachers' day of conference, whatever they have to do, we're not getting paid for this. So there's days that we're only getting 2 days a week paid. With the 2 week is 4 days. So you have to take that into consideration too when you're considering for 9 months. We're not getting the full 37.5, 6 days. We're getting 2 or 3 days on top of that. Okay, I'm done. I'm running out of time, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Stacy Coffey.
My name is Stacy Coffey. My address is as it states on the card. I used to be a bus driver. I know exactly what these ladies are going through. I was a bus driver for 6 years. Not once did I get a pay increase. That is why I left the county. I do not no longer work with y'all because of that. I felt unappreciated. I know what these ladies and these gentlemen feel like. So I know what they're going through. And I see what they're going through. So y'all need to really sit back and see what they are going through. You need to sit and think of what your janitors, your cafeteria workers, all of them, they are on the low totem pole. You got to think of them. And all I can say, y'all increasing their insurance, that's even making it a harder hit on them. And as a voter and everything like that, I'm not happy, because it hurts, because they treat your students, they treat them really good. They bend over backwards for your students. I seen it when I drove. I loved my job. I really loved my kids. I loved it. But I felt unappreciated, and that is why I left. So that's why you're losing bus drivers. That is why you're losing staff. So just think of it that way. That's why you're losing. Your employees are feeling unappreciated. So that's all I got to really say. You need to really think about what y'all are doing.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Coffey. Okay. Our next speaker is Tedda Keener. Did I say that right? Okay.
Hello, my name is Tedda Keener, and my address is on the card.
Gotcha.
We've seen some big dollars handed out over the last few months, raises in it, promotions and raises elsewhere. Is it our turn yet? I'm a school bus driver for Clay County, have been for many years. The support personnel has not received an increase to the salary scheduled in many, many years. We need a raise this year, not a bonus, but a raise that I can budget on for the future. Did the tentative budget you reviewed earlier include a raise for the support personnel? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Ms. Tracy Butler, and she's going to actually speak on 2 items. And the first item she's going to speak on is item 3 regarding allocations.
I'm wearing my CCA hat right now. Tracy Butler, my address is on the card. Normally, Rental League comes in and she talks about the things that are going on with the allocations. She's out of town, so I told her I would handle it for her tonight. I wanted to remind everyone that we have displaced annual contract and PSC teachers that are still sitting out there. Teachers have been that have been in the system, and they know the Clay way, and they have highly effective and effective evaluations. The teachers that we have invested money in. We currently have principals that are hiring anybody that they wish for open positions. They may hire their neighbor, their niece, their friends, etc. I've stated many times that any corporate head's going to tell you that there is a cost associated with turnover. Training new folks on how to do it the way we want them to do it, there is a cost associated to that. This district can no longer afford to operate with the good old boy attitude. The nepotism, the cronyism has to stop. We've outgrown that. And there are AC teachers out there that I want to say to them, if you have that non-reappoint letter in your hand, you are entitled to unemployment, and if you haven't received it, you need to go down and do it. And that's what we tell our members. If they got that non-reappoint letter, they need to go and claim unemployment. So there's another cost to the district. So we need to think about that before we put new people in. Oh, okay. You want me to go ahead with my other?
Okay, and her second item, so you can start the clock over again for her, is item C8.
Okay, wearing my CESPA hat now. I want to tell you that I'm looking at a report here that was submitted by the Office of Program Policy Analysis to their group out of Tallahassee, and apparently Management of America, also out of Tallahassee, actually was the ones who did the investigation or the review. And it states in here, it talks often about how we are top heavy. This was done in March 31st of 1998. It talks about throughout this summary, final report, about how we have too much money going to upper level district folks and to the middle level at the school level. And I think that has a lot to do with why we cannot give the folks that are on the front lines a raise. So whenever we're talking about changes that have to be made, I think that if they came to us in 1998 and said that this had to be done and we still haven't done it, and we still continue to do things that we've done in the last 2 months, we've watched a lot of people get raises, a lot of people got promotions. Okay, so I think we need to revisit that.
Can you provide me a copy of that? Is that available? Great. Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Butler, can you just email it to all of us?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Okay. Are there any other yellow cards? Any other people that would like to speak on any item on the consent agenda? Okay. With that, I want to note that one item was pulled from the consent agenda to discussion, and that's item C19. So we will get to that item excuse me, as we get to the discussion agenda. So I will entertain a motion for adoption of the consent agenda minus item C19.
Move approval.
Second. Sorry.
Oh,
second.
that's okay. I have an approval by Ms. Studdard and a second by Ms. Gilhausen.
A motion.
I'm sorry. I have a motion by Ms. Studdard and a second by Ms. Gilhausen. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Next item we have is recognitions and awards. And I believe Mr. Broski, his Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources.
Good evening. I'm proud to be here to represent Human Resources this evening and some recognition of some of our employees. HR is a very small group, and in a couple months I've got to figure out a very hard-working group of individuals up there. I'd also say that we've had some turnover in HR also, a bunch of new faces, myself, as well as a whole new team up there, and I'd like to kind of introduce them this evening. First, our Director of Support Personnel, Jackie Corey, who's going to be coming up in a minute to recognize our retirees. Following her is Miss Brenda Troutman, who's the Director of Instructional Personnel, who's going to give recognition to those folks that are ready with principal certification, so our future principal leaders. In addition, Ms. Kathy Richardson, who's also here, is the new Terry Stanalonis, Supervisor of Instructional Personnel. And of course, Dr. Saylor is part-time HR, and Sam Wright. And I'm just going to tell you, 15 of the hardest working ladies up there also up in HR. So we're a very proud group here this evening representing HR. So without further ado, Ms. Corey, you're up first.
Thank you. Tonight, we would like to recognize a special group of individuals who have joined the ranks of the retired. Retirement is a bittersweet time in most people's lives, but in the education system, the loss of teachers, support personnel, and administrators leaves an impact long after they've stopped working. Retiring personnel deserve the praise and recognition of their dedication to our students, our schools, their coworkers, and our community. They are a true blessing in our lives and in the lives of our students. I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Janine Clark, who is in the back of the room at the table, and she does a fabulous job in preparing our retirees for that transition into retirement. At this time, we'd like to honor a few retirees that are with us. We actually had 144 individuals who have retired since this time last year. And those 144 people served the school board of Clay County for 3,082 years.
Wow.
So that's a long time. When I call your name, if you'd kindly just come up front, Mr. Van Zant's going to come down. And if you'll just stay up front so that we can get a picture of the group. Miss Wanda Beverly.
Would it be possible for you to, if you have the information, to say how long they actually were teachers in the district? Or If you have it. If you don't, that's fine.
I don't think I do. I'm sorry. Miss Anna Bishop. Holly Cromer. Terry Greninger. Margaret Hopkins. Dorothy Robinson. And Joseph Lorentzen. Thank you for your service to our district.
Good evening. Okay, I'm here to recognize the following Clay County administrators who have successfully completed the Human Resource Management Development Program, and they have fulfilled the requirements for their Level 2 Principal Certification. All the recipients have successfully demonstrated mastery of the Florida Leadership Standards and represent Clay County's future school-based leaders. Tonight, we'll recognize each of you and your accomplishment and look forward to working with you as you lead Clay County schools to the top. We're going to present each of you with your Level 2 School Principal Certificate and ask you to remain up front for a photo with Mr. Van Zandt. Lori Burke. Brian Cox. Jennifer Halter. Mark McKinney. Jessica Pullen. Lana Racine. Melanie Sanders. Jeffrey Shriver. And Heather Tito. All right, congratulations to all of you. This is a very long program, and they've done a lot of work and will make great leaders for Clay County.
Well, Madam Chairman, board members, and Clay County family in the audience, I can't tell you what it means to lead a district with the kind of people that we have running it on your behalf every day. Some of the retirees already slipped out, but a great, great group of people. Miss Wanda, the lady standing here next to me, actually worked with one of my own children, and this group of people that just completed the principal HRMD process, absolutely just a phenomenal group of people. I was able to stick my head in once or twice as they were going through their training. I know most of them very, very well. A couple of them are already principals as of July 1st this year. As you know, we had a lot of retirements this year, and that can make you pause for a second, take a deep breath and say, wow, we're losing a lot of experience. But at the same time, it's very refreshing to know the quality of the people that you have coming after them, and we have some high quality people filling each and every position out there, and thank you so much.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is the 2015 Wes Whidden Scholarship recipients, and Ms. Frances Ellis is going to come up and introduce.
Good evening. We're proud to recognize the 2015 Wes Whidden Scholarship recipients tonight. We all remember Wes as an outstanding student and member of our community. This scholarship was created in his honor and is awarded each year to deserving students. To give a little more information about the scholarship and to announce the students, please welcome the principal from W. Cherry, Miss Angie Whidden, and the athletic director from Orange Park Junior High, Mr. Robert Worley.
Good evening. Truthfully, where I work doesn't matter tonight. I'm here tonight for my son. And when Mr. Wingate called me and asked if we wanted to recognize the recipients at the board meeting, I realized we had never done it before. And so just to inform you, on May 14th, 2008, I lost my oldest son. And we have a scholarship in his memory that we've given away since 2009. And as of this year, we've awarded 41 different Clay County kids with his scholarship. Okay, I gotta breathe. Because I had all this planned out of what I was going to say, and now I'm upset. Excuse me. So one thing that makes this very unique is that this scholarship is only for Clay County kids. You have to attend Clay County schools. And so obviously that's one of the first criteria. And then you had to have played a sport in either junior high or senior high. And you have to be accepted to college, which, you know, I'm very thankful, but it's also unfortunate. A lot of our recipients have already left for college, but we're happy to have a few of them here with us tonight. And the third one is probably the most important part of the scholarship requirements. And that is the students have to write an essay that say how they make a difference. And I can tell you, my child was not perfect. He was not perfect by any means. I mean, Mr. Broski had him in junior high. He's not perfect. But I can tell you, he made a difference. I had a mom come up to me shortly after he was killed, and she goes, "You don't know who I am, but my child was friends with your son." And I said, "Oh, you know, I mean, I'd heard that a lot." And she goes, "No, you don't understand. Your child was my son's first friend ever." She said, "My child has Down syndrome, and he had never attended school. And the first school he attended was Fleming Allen High School. And Wesley took him under his wing. And he would come home every day talking about Wesley. And then Wesley would bring him out to football practice, so he would be out there with the football players." And she goes, "Miss Wynn, I want you to know that he prays for Wesley every night at dinner." That's really unique for a 17-year-old kid who's not only the football star, but to take the time to make a difference in somebody's life. And I'm going to wrap this up. But I have framed in my room at home a letter that he wrote, which was an assignment of his here at Fleming. And it's funny because in there he's asking me about different books that I have read, and is it because of these books to get me to fight to be like I am, and thank you for all you've done for me. And in the end, the last thing he says, I hope one day to be a reflection of you, Mom. I love you. And that's so special to me, but honestly, I hope to be a reflection of my son. So without this gentleman right here, this wouldn't happen. He never met my child, didn't know him. He had his younger brother in the 7th grade, which was the year after Wesley was killed in May. And I had to ask him, I said, Coach Worley, why would you do this? You didn't know Wesley, you never saw him play. And he goes, after coaching Heath, if Wesley was anything like Heath, then he deserves to be remembered. So I'm going to hand it over to Coach Worley because he really deserves a lot of this. And most importantly, it makes my child never forgotten. So thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? My name's Robert Worley. As Ms. Whidden said, I founded the scholarship in 2009 with the simple goal of trying to help some kids go to college. A little backstory. I played high school football. My high school football coaches did a similar thing, and I figure I'd pay it forward now by trying to do the same idea. Our little motto is, your life is your message to the world, make it count. Quick little story, a young man named Lorenzo Ferguson was one of our first recipients. Recently, last May, he graduated from the University of South Alabama, and he contacted me a couple weeks ago, and he said, Coach, he goes, I've got one more favor to ask. And I said, what's that, Lorenzo? He said, I want to be a teacher. He said, if you could help me get a job. And I said, absolutely, man. I said, I'll do everything I can. I said, but why do you want to be a teacher? He said, I want to help kids the way you and your foundation have helped me. So that's basically, just a little backstory of what we're trying to do. Trying to help kids better their lives through education, kids that work hard and do the right thing. We've got 2 here today that I'd like to recognize. Megan Hanlon from Orange Park High School and Bryson Tuttle from Fleming Island High School. If y'all could come up here, take a picture. Thank you.
I just wanted to say all the recipients were recognized in a public ceremony at the Junior High Jamboree in May. And so maybe next year we can recognize them in May so that you all can see all of them. Absolutely. Every high school has had a representative, every single one. I think this year we had 9. Yeah, we had 9 recipients. And this year especially we did one recipient in memory of Gianna Asensio, the little girl who passed away here at Fleming Island. So we made sure that we included her family because I know how they feel. But thanks big time to Fleming Island High School. They have a golf tournament. They sponsor one entire scholarship every year. And what's very cool is that Wesley was number 42. They retired his jersey. And the first recipient next year will be the 42nd recipient.
Wow, that's great.
So, thank you.
You have something you want to say? Oh.
Okay, all right. Okay, our next item is presenters. We have none. We have no scheduled citizens requests. So at this time, I will make a last call for any speaker cards. Okay. With that, we are going to move to the discussion agenda. First item up is superintendent's update.
I have just 2 things for you. The first one, we've been the recipients of an opportunity to have a new program that focuses on working with at-risk junior high age young teenage boys to keep them in school. And Ms. Frances Sellis has worked as our point person on this, so I'd like her to come up and tell you guys a little bit more about it.
come back. Andrew's going to help me with the PowerPoint.
Sure.
Okay, so good evening. I'm here to talk about a DJJ prevention facility that will benefit at-risk males in our county. It's called AMI Kids. When this information was first shared with you a few months ago, the initial concern was the loss of FTE to support the program. However, because the program provides an invaluable service to the children of Clay County, our local representatives, Senator Bradley and Representative Cummings, fought hard for us in Tallahassee and received a $750,000 grant to support the program here in Clay County. Senator Bradley stated, "Last year we were able to provide state funds to establish a PACE Center for girls in Clay County. This year we saw an equally successful program for the at-risk males in the community. This is a wonderful opportunity to help kids in Clay County who otherwise are likely to end up in our juvenile or adult correctional systems." Representative Cummings has stated, "I am very excited to help bring AMI Kids to Clay County. We are now able to offer quality alternative school programs to both boys and girls locally. And any intervention to benefit at-risk youth is a great investment in our community. As a former guidance counselor and now supervisor of secondary ed, I'm extremely grateful to Senator Bradley and Representative Cummings for their efforts to better help us meet the needs of our students here in Clay County." Some of the benefits of the program are listed here. If you'll go ahead and just click through. Typically, students who are at risk do not finish high school and end up dropping out. Not only does this affect school and district accountability, but more importantly, it affects our community when we have students who are unable to successfully support themselves and their families. By providing specialized services to students for 12 to 18 months, these students are more likely to stay in school and graduate. As you can see, the benefits of the program for our at-risk male students far outweigh the costs for the district. I see this as an investment, not an expense for our community. AMI Kids has agreed to a 15% administrative fee as opposed to the standard 5% administrative fee associated with most of the programs. They will pay a rental fee back to the district for the space they're going to use on our campus. They will also pay the cost of maintenance, custodial fees, modifications to the portables that they'll do at Clay High School. They will also be providing transportation for these students to attend the program. And finally, lunch will be provided by the district, but that will be reimbursed through the appropriate rates. As with any program in the public school system, this school will collect the FTE for the students that it serves, anticipating 20 students for the first year with a maximum student capacity of 44. The financial impact of this program, once all costs are factored, is minimal. The grant that has been secured for the program will cover a range of services for the students, from behavior intervention to individual counseling, family counseling, drug treatment and prevention, social services, and psychological counseling. Again, with the projected enrollment for 2015-16 being approximately 20 students, PACE started out, their max is 50, and this year they've gotten to about 20-25 students. So that first year, they aren't anticipated to hit the 44. This final graphic is simply meant to show the investment on a whole scale, the actual cost for the program. The FTE that will be allocated to the program for the students served will cover roughly 10% of the actual program financials. The district investment, which will be the FTE for the students enrolled, is calculated for the first year to be roughly $83,000, with about half coming back to the district through contracted services paid by AMI Kids. A small price to invest for our most troubled young men. 20 to 44 students that we can keep in our schools equates to roughly $500,000 in FTE that the district will retain over the next 4 years if these students graduate high school and become productive citizens. As I stated in the beginning, the minimal investment far outweighs the benefits for the students and their futures in Clay County. I hope you will join me in thanking our Clay County Legislative Delegation for making this program possible, and that you will welcome AMI Kids to our district. Any questions?
I have one question. Thank you for presenting tonight. And I remember when this came before us in March, and it's going to be a great program, I'm sure. My one question is the grant money that the Senator Bradley and Representative Cummings got for us, the $750,000. Will that be reoccurring? Is it something that has to be applied for every year, or is it just a one-time?
We reached out to find the answer to that question. We were just informed that it will be reoccurring.
Great. That was it. That was my big question. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Mr. Van Zant?
Well, like most summers, this one's gone really quick. It's July 16th. Teachers come back August 10th. Students come back August 17th. Last year, the first day of school, I tried to push out all of the district office administrators into schools. And we had a few more boots on the ground, if you will, the first day or two of school all over the district. It was very appreciated by the schools, and I think the district level administrators got to feel a little more engaged than they do just reporting to 900 Walnut. It was a chance for them to make some impact there. Our next board meeting would be scheduled to be that third Thursday of the same week the students would come back. And if all of you have your vacations over, I know Ms. Gilhousen's got her first child starting school, so she'll be here. I know me and Ms. Condon will be around. If it would please the board, if I could gain consensus to move that meeting 1 week, my emphasis would be to have my district staff focused on opening schools that week versus preparing for a board meeting. I don't know of any significant thing coming up in August, but I never know till it becomes significant. So
What's the date you're looking at?
The 27th
August
of August.
27th.
Mr. Van Zant, could you please ask Mrs. Gentry if Keystone Heights High School's open house is that night? Because that would be the only thing that would take priority for me is my two children's open house. So
she's looking at her calendar. I'm okay for that night.
I'm okay. But I'm okay for the 25th, too, if you need to move it to the Tuesday or something.
Come on now, you have an app, Ms. Condon. You don't have that right at your fingertips.
I'm all good.
She's good.
I'm
yeah.
good.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Gentry.
All right.
Ms. Gilhousen, are you okay for the 27th and Ms. Studdard? Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll advertise that we're moving the August school board meeting from Thursday, August 20th to the fourth Thursday of the month, which is August 27th.
Is this room available that day, or do we know? Yes.
We probably ought to find that out. Can anybody answer that question right now? Or okay, well.
Same time, 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll probably do disciplines at 4 if we have any.
Yeah.
We may not, though. It's summer.
Yep.
We may not have any.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Van Zant? Okay. The next item up is item D2. We need to appoint one board member and one private citizen to serve a one-year term on the Value Adjustment Board for a one-year term beginning August 1st, 2015 and ending July 31st, 2016. And we also need to approve an alternate as well. I know in the assignments that we had put out this year, I believe it was Mrs. Studdard who was given that assignment. And so we need to vote on that. And then if there's anybody that would like to do the alternate on that.
Do you want to continue? Or have you?
Well, she hasn't started yet.
I haven't started
Right.
yet.
Yeah, she hasn't started yet. So we just, what we really
do
need
the
is we need to
alternate.
approve her and we need an alternate.
Do you,
Okay.
either of you want the alternate? I'll go ahead and do it.
I will entertain a motion to approve Mrs. Studdard as the primary to serve on the Value Adjustment Board and Mrs. Carrick is to serve as the alternate.
I'll move approval.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Ms. Condon and a second by Ms. Gilhousen. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We need to add a citizen.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Has anybody, it's always
Yeah.
Mr. Roberts.
Mr. Roberts has agreed.
Yep.
If one of you has a friend or neighbor that would like to do it,
Yeah.
that would,
So we
you
need
know.
to change that.
Yeah, we need to go back and amend the motion.
I'll amend my motion to add Mr. Roberts on.
Okay.
And I'll second.
So I have a motion to amend the motion to add Mr. Roberts as the citizen. And I have a motion by Ms. Condon, a second by Ms. Gilhousen. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0.
Oh, gee, thanks.
That's an
I
easy
did it
one.
for 2 years.
I did too.
Hey,
That's an
Yep.
easy one.
I've done it a time or two.
Okay, I know you have.
Sure.
I'm sure. I'm sure you're very good at it. Okay.
Hey, maybe they'll let you talk to those people who didn't pay their taxes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get them behind the barn.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Hmm.
I am trying to get back to
Well, look
my
at
main
this.
screen here.
We're almost done.
Yep. Okay. So moving on. Next item is Human Resources Special Actions, and we have none. Next item, let me follow here, is item C19. This was from the consent agenda. This was pulled to discussion by Ms. Studdard. Before we take up discussion, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I move approval.
I'll second.
I have a motion for approval by Ms. Condon, a second by Ms. Gilhousen. Discussion. Ms. Studdard.
Yeah, the reason I pulled this is I pulled it because it was on the consent agenda, and I felt that it needed to be explained to the public what we were doing, since there was this huge article in the Clay Today last week saying that we had this program coming to Clay High School. But I have talked to Senator Bradley and Ms. Sellis, Ms. Cornegay, and got most of my questions answered. One thing I want to know is that 85%, it says it's of the FEFP. Is it that, or is it the FTE?
I believe it's the FTE, but Ms. Sellis, could you answer that question? It's the FTE, 85% of the FTE.
But the contract says FEFP. That's why I'm asking. Is Ms. Sellis still here?
Yes, she is.
I
got the contract right here.
That's because the FEFP takes into account all those additional services.
I know. That's why I was asking.
The portions of the instructional resources, those categorical funds that they also get a portion of, it's included in that. So it's 85% of the FEFP.
Okay.
Which
Now,
includes the FTE and the categorical funds.
May I ask you this on a side note? On the PACE, is it 85% of their FTE or their FEFP?
It's the same thing.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just stated differently in the contract, the way that it's worded. If you look at the one that says, and I forget which is which.
I just wanted to make sure we're treating the boys and girls just alike.
Yes, they are. The wording, if you look at the one I believe that's 95%, it says of the, I may have them backwards. One of them says FTE.
Charter schools are 95%.
FTE plus, and then it lists out the categoricals. The other one says the reverse of that, but it's basically saying the exact same thing. It's just worded differently.
Okay, so we are treating the boys and the girls just alike.
We are, and when the PACE contract comes up for renewal, because if you remember we did that one, that was
Right.
the first one that we had done of this nature.
Right.
We will look to negotiate the same deal with them.
That's what I wanted to know.
Down to
Is
85%.
we're learning as we go.
You are absolutely right. We are
and,
learning as we go.
I wanted to make sure that we are doing apples and apples here.
Yes.
And then the other thing that I was talking to you about this morning, on that money, can you on the 3,000? Remember when I asked you about that this morning? You were going to talk to Ms. Sellis?
About the 3,000.
The 3,000 per portable, per relocatable. Excuse me.
Thank you. We had a long conversation this morning. So
Yes.
Think about what all we talked about. Yes, it is 3,000 for all 5. It wasn't per portable. That's how you were interpreting as 3,000 per portable, which is why the total wasn't coming out. But that's a total. So it's 3,000 for all portables.
3,000 total.
Total. Yes.
Per month.
Per month, which is how
Total
you
of
were getting that total of
$36,000.
$36,000.
Okay.
Per month.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, any other questions?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Condon and a second by Ms. Gilhousen, was it? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Next item is business affairs, and there is nothing. And we will move to superintendent requests.
I'm getting excited about the 2015-2016 school
Wait,
year.
excuse me, I'm sorry. I think I need to do presentations from the audience first. I'm sorry. Okay, I do have one card from Miss Liz Crane on presentations from the audience. Sorry, Mr. Van Zandt.
Liz Crane, you have my address on record. Good evening. When she was 5 years old, she entered kindergarten. Sally wasn't too sure about school. She wanted to continue to play in pre-K. At first, we began with alphabet review. And Sally at that time could not identify more than 50% of her letters or sounds. The letter N gave her particular trouble. I was worried that we were going to have to start the MTSS process with her. After about 30 days, we began word building. Take 2 letters, build the word at. At first, Sally had some success with this, but as the lessons progressed and got harder and harder, she started to falter, and she got frustrated, she cried, and eventually she would shut down. At this time, the class was beginning with their guided readers in reading, but not Sally. At this point, we were still working on the alphabetic principle. But Sally began to notice that her classmates were progressing and succeeding. She also began to notice that it wasn't 100% talent, but 5% talent and 95% hard work. She demonstrated this one day when another student was bothering her, and she said, "Leave me alone. I'm trying to get it right." Eventually, she did begin reading, and she would practice and practice and practice, and her running record checkouts were near flawless. She also noticed that some of her classmates were moving on and doing accelerated reader and passing quizzes. And I noticed a new hunger develop in Sally. She came to me, "Miss Crane, I want to do AR. When can I do it?" I said, "Honey, we got to continue with the guided readers first. But if you want, we could do 2 books a week, but you got to practice, and you got to continue to rock your running records." "Oh, I will, Miss Crane. I most certainly will." And she continued, and she progressed, and she still confirmed that it was about the hard work, not the talent. Soon she wanted to know, "When can I start, Miss Crane?" She came to me, "When can I start, Miss Crane?" So we got out a calendar, and we looked at that calendar, and she was going to be able to start right after Easter. She was so excited. She told every kid in my class. She told the kids in the hallway. She told the kids on the playground. She went home, told her whole family, which is quite large. I even got a text message from her mother saying, "Oh, she's so excited, can't wait." Well, Easter came, and she started AR. She started taking quizzes. We had our ups, we had our downs. Some of the other kids wanted a word count goal for the end of the year. She came to me, "Miss Crane, I have to have a word count goal." "I don't know, Sally. I don't want to put too much pressure on you. You're doing great." "No, I have to have one." Okay. So we gave her a count of 15,000 words. By the end of the year, she not only passed that goal, it was 17,200 words. Now remember, this is from April 6th through June 4th. She's 5. I was so proud of her. We all were. It's students like Sally that inspire us. It's students like Sally that remind us what it's like that it comes down to the work, not necessarily the talent. It's students like Sally that we teach for. It's students like Sally that work through the clouds so they can shine.
Thank you.
I like that. That was good, Liz.
Yep. Okay, now superintendent's requests.
Well, I'm still excited about the 15-16 school year coming up. We have so many great things going on, it'd just blow your mind. So I'll tell you about a couple of them. As you know, this year we're moving into our 2nd year of our Wall-to-Wall Academy program. So every 9th grader and 10th grader will be in an academy. We have worked diligently with our high school administrators, guidance counselors. We've had some special training with them, with some academy experts. We've been able to cohort the majority of our high school students' schedules to where in 3 of the 6 classes they have every day, they're in the classes with basically the same kids. And as we build out over the next couple of years, the administrator for your son that goes into 9th grade will be consistent, the guidance counselor. It's just really coming together very well. The collaborative classroom effort that we have going in the elementary school is paying huge dividends. I talk to teachers, they get to go look and they see what, quote, right looks like. It's modeled, it's coming back out. I dropped in on a PLC training today that Dr. Weiskopf was doing with some of our administrators, and I saw some teachers that want to be administrators there in the room. That's very encouraging. They're not being compensated for that, but they're trying to figure out how are the best ways to do some things. If you haven't had a chance to go by Orange Park High School, put that on your calendar for the first month or so of the school year. We're creating or have created, and they're busy implementing an advanced studies degree. The community loves it. There's a huge waiting list. Is Mr. DeJesus still here? We'll probably have to expand that by this time next year. There's just a real hunger for it there, so that's a great thing. I went by the transportation yard this morning there in Middleburg, next to Middleburg High School, and was talking with Mr. Warrenberg and looking at our bus fleet and just kind of catching up on some things. We've been able to, through routing and really some intentional groundwork, be able to collapse a few more routes, gain some more efficiencies. If you go back to where the administrative offices are on that property, and if you've been there more than 6 months ago, you'll notice just the way it looks. That area has been really cleaned up. We've dropped some millings. We've moved part of our maintenance department. You know, Green Cove is the county seat of Clay County and used to kind of be the hub, but really most of Clay County is that way. So we have some of our maintenance workers that report there, and it's a whole lot quicker, more efficient to get out to Oakleaf, run up to Orange Park, SBJ, those kind of areas. So we're gaining some efficiencies there. I received a letter today. Fleming Island High School's band and Oakleaf High School's band have been invited to go to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, and march in the 4th of July Independence Day Parade next year. I sent out a 4th of July message. You may have noticed that our kids came in 6th in the state in civics. Our 3rd graders came out 7th in the state on reading level proficiency. I mean, just some phenomenal things going on this summer, so I'm ready for it to take off here next month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Van Zant. School board requests. Mrs. Studdard, we'll start with you.
You want to start with me? Okay.
Start with you.
One thing I was remiss in saying a while ago, or well, I hadn't really had a chance because it was on the consent agenda, but I wanted the public to know that with the allocations that we passed tonight, that Ms. Cornegay and staff heard the board as far as our wish that we could get music back into the schools, and we're going to have some strange looking people next year. We're going to have half a teacher in several schools. No, we do have a split arrangement where we're going to have a .5 and a .5 so that 2 schools can share a music teacher. And I believe Ms. Cornegay told me that all of our elementaries will have music except one, and that one is going to reevaluate next year because they have 2 PEs and no music, right? And then we also have art, and we added 2.5 art in the allocation. So there is a move towards making sure that our students are exposed to the resources such as music and art, and we want to have it equalized throughout the district. So I'm real tickled with that. With this as a, you know, we've got the .5, and hopefully one of these days we'll be able to get whole people back.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Studdard. Ms. Gilhousen.
I, too, am excited for the 15-16 school year. I think I probably have the only kid in Clay County who wakes up every day asking if summer is over yet, can we start school? So our household is very excited to be a real part of Lake Asbury Elementary next year. And it was such a privilege to watch these retirees this evening. Mr. Griniger was one of my teachers in junior high school, and anyway, I just am so appreciative to be a part of this community. It's such a tight-knit family, and I'm excited for the next month.
Thank you, Ms. Gilhousen. Ms. Karakis.
Well, congratulations to you for having a upcoming kindergartner. It's going to be so much fun. You're going to love it. I really don't have anything other than the email we received from Florida School Board Association that we need to choose our legislative
liaison.
Yeah, the liaison. So it was Ms. McKinnon, and I was the alternate, and I think we're just going to swap.
Yep, we're just going to swap. And
that's okay unless anybody else would rather do it. All right, then.
Yeah. So
do we need a motion on that, or just a consensus?
No, I don't think it has to be. No, because it's just a normal appointment.
Yeah.
So what happened is that we got a letter saying normally that cycle went from November to November.
And we all got that.
Right, and so they've moved it from June to June. So yeah.
So if everybody's okay.
Yep. Since you always go a day early anyway.
I'm on it anyway.
You go to all those committee meetings. I think that would be perfect for you. I want you to get to go sit in some meetings.
I'm already in that meeting, so it's twofold. All right, so I will send an email.
We can have
to come from Ms. Bush, probably from Ms. Bush. Thank you. And really just wish everybody a safe and fun remainder of your summer. Enjoy. We're having a great summer at my house, so hope everybody else is too.
Ms. Condon.
Well, I would also like to echo my congratulations to the retirees and to the administrators who've passed that. And it was interesting to note that the smiles were different on the faces. The smiles of the retirees were very relaxed smiles, and the smiles of the administrators were happy but pensive. So I guess that's good for all those retirees. We wouldn't want them to be pensive about retirement. But congratulations, and our heartfelt gratitude for the years of service. That was 3,028
or something.
28 years of service is many, many lifetimes. And then the only other thing that I wanted to clarify ahead of time of next week's workshop for our legal services is that I understand from multiple sources that some of my comments in our last meeting were either misinterpreted or not clear, and so I wanted to clarify those, and that those were my comments about Mr. Sykes. And Mr. Sykes is a very well-recognized, accomplished attorney, both in our United States military and in our civilian, and so I have the utmost respect for his work. I would also like the public to know, because you probably don't know this, that there is probably only one or two other people in our county who know more about ESE law, because Mr. Sykes has personal experience in that arena, and that makes a difference. So if what we're looking for is ESE law, then we may have an expert right in our midst. But what I said that was not clear was my feelings about when I said, I don't remember exactly what I said, but something to the effect of healing that I thought needed to go on and move on. And when I came on the board, Mr. Bickner was our attorney, and I spoke to Mr. Bickner 2 times, and I asked him for his opinion one time, a legal opinion one time, and it was my exchanges with him were less than pleasant. And I felt very awkward. And I understand that he was well supported by my seat in the past, and that was the person that I ran against. And so I understood how he felt. And then I feel the same way with Mr. Sykes coming in. I think some of our board members felt like he was Mr. Van Zant's guy. And so no matter how good his legal opinion could be, it would not be pure. And so all I was trying to say when I was asking us to consider maybe an outside firm would be that I think with multiple people giving us legal opinions, depending on the issue, we might have less likelihood to have some kind of personal connections where all of us could not feel comfortable with the legal opinion given. And that was all. I just wanted to clarify what I said in preparation for next week's workshop so that my comments hopefully now are clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, just a couple things from me. Just as reminders for the public, we do have next Tuesday, July 21st, we do have a workshop and a special meeting scheduled, workshop at 4 p.m. The special meeting will follow that at 6 p.m. The workshop will be for the purpose of discussing the district's legal services, and then the special meeting will be for the purpose of approving the tentative 15-16 budget and the required advertisement, and that was basically the workshop that we had today. And then the following Tuesday, July 28th, we will have another special meeting at 6 p.m., and this will be for the purpose of holding the first public hearing on the budget and the adoption of the millage and the tentative budget for 15-16. So those are the upcoming meetings, the next 2 Tuesdays in a row. The other thing that I just wanted to mention is that I am going to be serving on the Athletic Appeals Committee, so that's something that I'll be doing. And then I also wanted to echo Ms. Condon on congratulations to the retirees and to all of the new administrative personnel who got their certificates. So congratulations. And I will just say that so far my summer has been a whirlwind. I had 2 weddings within 13 days of each other. My 2 youngest sons who happen to be twins, and they do everything 2 weeks apart their entire lives. Both got married 13 days apart. One of them in West Palm Beach, and it was a huge whirlwind of a wedding. It was wonderful. And his identical twin brother, who's serving in the United States Navy overseas in Guam, got married 13 days later and brought his bride home to meet the family. And all her family came, and I mean, we just had a wonderful 4th of July. So it's been a whirlwind for me, and things have finally calmed down in the McKinnon household, and I can get back to work and kind of focus on other things. So I just want to wish everybody a happy rest of the summer, and thank everybody for a good board meeting. With that, attorney requests. Mr. Sykes.
I have nothing.
Okay, with that, we will adjourn.